Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today. We're your boys. We always got something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlock. And I cannot believe that we're giving this airtime, everybody. This is how you know that it has been a quiet Toronto Blue Jays offseason without a freaking transaction, what feels like months. In fact, I think it has been literally months.
We haven't had zero. We've had zero transactions.
Zero transactions for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Look it up online, everybody.
Jon Morosi pulled the rug from underneath us a few weeks ago. I don't want to even get into the situation that transpired. You all know what it was. It was terrible. He's kind of on the blacklist for Blue Jays fans right now. But we are going to discuss a recent trade rumor that he's brought up with the Toronto Blue Jays and decide whether or not this is completely ridiculous or if it's something that we think could actually transpire. Before we do, make sure to like, subscribe, comment your thoughts down below, everybody. Let's flash over to this Jon Morosi stuff where he links the Toronto Blue Jays to Max Kepler and Jorge Polanco.
Yeah, this was said on MLB Network, and right before we get into it and we play you guys the clip, you just got to give a quick shout out to Battlegrounds right here. They're having a 15% off between December 26th and December 29th. So if you got like a boyfriend, girlfriend, or a family member, or whatever this holiday season, go check out Battlegrounds and book it today on their website. Jon Morosi, he was talking about a potential trade the Twins might make. They're looking to kind of retool a little bit. Kepler, Polanco, both on one-year deals. And he just loves to bring up the Toronto Blue Jays in any way possible because he knows, and I feel like he knows, because I know he knows it's going to get a reaction out of us and the rest of the Blue Jay Nation, because he right here brought up the fact that a possible trade candidate could be the Toronto Blue Jays.
Point out one team here that makes a ton of sense, the Toronto Blue Jays. The Jays, they were in there on Ohtani. Of course, they missed him. They now need to bring in, I think, multiple bats.
I love Canada.
Okay, that's enough.
That's enough right there. And that's how I know he knows what he's doing. Yeah. He knows what is going to happen when he starts talking about Toronto Blue Jays in Canada.
He knows everybody. I literally can't believe that we're still seeing this guy on our televisions only a week removed effectively from what transpired.
I know.
But he does bring up a good point with the Toronto Blue Jays and the Minnesota Twins. We have seen these guys be trade partners before. I mean, Jose Barrios came from the Minnesota Twins. That trade seems to be working out pretty good. And when you look at Max Kepler and you look at Jorge Polanco, they do have some interesting attributes that I think the Toronto Blue Jays, they would be enticed by for sure.
I mean, they're good players, right?
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you want a good player on your team? Now, some of them have different kind of fits in the Toronto Blue Jays when we look at the roster right now. So let's get into it a little bit. Let's start with Jorge Polanco.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Because the interesting thing about Jorge Polanco, we actually talked about situations with positioning on our live stream last night, if you guys were watching it, about Jonathan India and why would it make a lot of sense for us to go get Jonathan India because he's a second baseman. You got Davis Schneider there, you got Captain Biggio, you got Espinal, and then you got Polanco, who is a middle infielder. However, last year, if you guys weren't watching a lot of Twins games, which if you're Blue Jay fans, I totally understand why, Jorge Polanco actually played a lot of games at third base.
Yeah.
What do you think we're missing, right? We're missing a third baseman. So that right there would make sense if you're thinking about trading Jorge Polanco over to the Toronto Blue Jays to play some third base, to maybe play as a backup in case you miss out on Matt Chapman, because after him, it's pretty much nothing. And he's kind of like a better option with the bat in the third base position anywhere else in the market,
dude,
right?
1,000%. Bringing up the bat right now, I mean, last year the guy hit for a 255 average, but he has 789 OPS, right, which is very, very solid. And you look at the career numbers, he's been very good for a long period of time. Like he's not gonna have numbers that fly off the page or anything like that, but he's going to be consistent. I think that you really know what you're gonna get. And I don't think that you'd feel any ways about putting him in the middle of this lineup. Like, you'd be happy to have Jorge Polanco in that Toronto Blue Jays lineup for sure. Defensively speaking, it will be a downgrade from Matt Chapman.
Yeah.
It's just going to be, guys. I mean, really, unless you trade for Nolan Arenado, you're going to have and you don't get Matt Chapman back, you're going to have a downgrade defensively speaking. This one would be pretty significant. He has been always in the bottom percentiles when it comes to defense. So that is something for the Toronto Blue Jays you kind of need to bite. But based on their interest in Jonathan India, it seems like they feel like they're okay if they lose a little bit on the defense and kind of upgrade a little bit at the bat, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've always said, right? I mean, we have a Gold Glove defense. Yes, that did include Matt Chapman, and yes, that did include Kevin Kiermaier, so we are taking already a hit by potentially losing these guys these offseason. But look, I don't care. You have guys already still like Varsho, who is the best defender in baseball, undoubtedly. And you have Bo Bichette, who's improved, and George Springer can go get it, any other day. So, yeah, I think you're okay with taking a hit if it requires getting a bit of bat. And the difference between Jorge Polanco and Jonathan India is I actually like Jorge Polanco's bat better because it's more proven over a longer period of time.
1,000%, dude. I mean, he's 30 years old right now, so there really isn't any risk of decline. The guy has been pretty much healthy his entire career, and he's been very consistent. Looking at the contract over here, the guy has 1 year left, basically, with a club option after that. It's cheap money, too, guys. Like, this is the type of stuff that you want to have on your team. This is the type of stuff that you can have, and then you can also go out and sign Cody Bellinger. And I'm starting to think right here, we're going to get into the Max Kepler stuff in a sec, but I'm starting to think all of these rumblings about Toronto Blue Jays being in on India, being in on Jorge Polanco, let's use our brains. These are middle infielder guys. So if we're feeling like we're the favorite out here for Cody Bellinger, that probably means that we are not going to be signing Matt Chapman.
That's right.
If we get Cody Bellinger. We need to have a backup plan now to bring in some middle infielders. Maybe not spend a whole lot of money doing it because we just paid for Cody Bellinger, but have somebody who can occupy that third base.
Yeah, and defensively, it's going to be a struggle. That's what you're going to be punting that a little bit. But look, if it works out, great. I mean, in the end of the day, too, look, maybe if he's more comfortable playing second base, right? I mean, maybe you want to have him playing over there in a less prime position. I hate to say that because every position's pretty good. You turn double plays up there. But if you have him playing second, and then, hey, if Espinal, Schneider, or Biggio, they got better gloves. If they want to go over there and play third base and lock down the hot corner, sure. I think they're okay with trying to make it work because after Chapman, like I brought up, like, the only other upgrades at third base are out there on the trade market. So I'm cool with going and getting a nice bat and with an extra year option on a Jorge Polanco.
Totally agree, dude. Moving on to Max Kepler, the other guy that he brought up. This almost feels like the flip side of the situation, right? If you miss out on Cody Bellinger, but you still want to go get Matt Chapman, okay, you bring in Matt Chapman, that's where you spend your money. Well, now you can trade for Max Kepler, right? So that can kind of be your replacement for Cody Bellinger. He's not going to put up the same offensive numbers as Cody B would. I mean, at the end of the day, Bellinger is just going to be a better overall player. But last year, nothing to scoff at last year from Max Kepler.
No, he was solid. An 816 OPS. He had 24 home runs. His batting average to 260. I mean, he was solid. And what I like about him, too, is, yes, he's got the bat. He can pop off. It is a bit of a dice roll. I mean, yes, he could be great. He could be bad. But what I like about him is that you got him having great defense out there, right? He mainly plays right field, so there would be a little bit of positional change. I mean, it's not that hard moving over to left field. It's literally just the ball comes off the bat the other way now with the other spin. So it's just a bit of adjustment to left field. But that's great. For me, and you brought it up before, he's kind of like just a better bat like Kevin Kiermaier. Like Kevin Kiermaier with a better bat upside for me.
No, I completely agree, right? I mean, Kevin Kiermaier, you could argue, is maybe a little bit better defensively, but you're kind of trading that off to get somebody who has the upside to have an 800 OPS. Now, the one thing is, if you do go out and you do acquire Max Kepler, it can't be one of those down years where the guy puts up a 650 OPS, because that's literally what he did in 2022. I will give him some credit, though. I think he was dealing with a few injuries there. So potentially last year he got himself fully healthy. He got back to what he's capable of doing. So I do think that going out and getting Max Kepler, like, I'm probably more excited about the prospect of Jorge Polanco.
Yes.
But I could definitely see a fit for Kepler as well.
Like, I'm excited about Jorge Polanco because it kind of fits, I guess, both of our schemes of how we see the future of the Toronto Blue Jays moving away from Matt Chapman and maybe having some sort of band-aid over there at third base. And the idea that you could, if he does hit, you could exercise that club option and have him for here in 2025.
I think you do, because at the end of the day, if Jorge Polanco was to do exactly what he did last year, you take that for $12 million.
Absolutely.
You're not going to find that on free agency for $12 million.
Absolutely. And it's consistent decent bat too. Like you know you're probably going to get a good effort out of Jorge Polanco. Whereas Max Kepler, it's a 1 year roll the dice, and based on his history, it could be good, it could be bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you don't really see a real future with Max Kepler rather than Jorge Polanco.
The good thing about Kepler, though, everybody, is that monetarily speaking, you are not going to need to break the bank for this guy at all. Similar to Jorge Polanco, the guy's going to get paid $10 million for 2024. Then he is going to move on somewhere else. So again, it's that situation where you can trade for Kepler and you can still sign Matt Chapman, and you've kind of upgraded in the sense with the bat, and you've also got like your big fish and free agent.
Yeah, and I will say this out here because sometimes people misinterpret what we say and think like, because we're describing this reality right here of like, yeah, like a Chapman and a Kepler. I'm gonna say it right now. I do not want that reality.
Whoa, time for your daily Betway breather. A quick reminder that the best place to bet is on Betway. Must be 19 years of age or older to play. In collaboration with iGaming Ontario, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Right.
I'll be honest.
Right.
If that was the reality of the Toronto Blue Jays, I do not want it. I want to make that very clear. I'd much rather have a Bellinger Jorge Polanco situation.
I think that makes perfect sense, dude. Like, that fits into our narrative so well, where you go out, you pay Bellinger the big bucks, you get Jorge Polanco, a proven veteran who can come in and help the young guys on this 1 year deal within a club option, because he comes in. If he performs, you keep him. If not, no problem, because then hopefully for 2025, you're a Relvis Martinez or your Addison Barger or whoever has picked up a few of the tricks, came up last year, and played some baseball, right? Because that's the big issue right now, where you're walking in the season, you don't have a locked-in third baseman at all. Jorge Polanco could do that and could help those young kids develop. So I like that reality a lot, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you won't help him defensively,
no,
but
he won't.
You'll help him maybe mentally. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, you have another option out there if you get Jorge Polanco. Well, now you got in this second base, third base kind of situation. All these players, you got him if we trade for him. You got Biggio, Schneider, and then you got Espinal. You go trade one of those other three guys.
Sure you can.
You absolutely
Sure
can.
you can.
Anybody would like to have like just some sort of Band-Aid of their own, and we got 3 Band-Aids ready to go.
Kind of turns into the catching situation from a few years ago,
Right.
maybe to a bit of a lesser extent.
Right.
But I mean, you just have all of these guys who are serviceable enough that they deserve some opportunities in the MLB, and we just do not have enough opportunities to play them,
Right.
assuming you go out and you trade for Jorge Polanco. Let's take a look at what a potential package could look like. Now, this package includes both of these guys, and we will come out here and say it might be a tough swallow for Blue Jays fans,
Right.
because the guys that we're including here, they're prospects, they're young, they're mystery boxes, but it also feels like from a Minnesota Twins fan, because they're mystery boxes, because they're prospects, you got to be getting something to be giving up two players right
Yeah,
here.
you can make any sort of combination here. Obviously, right here we got Max Kepler and Jorge Polanco. We put up Davis Schneider because look, he's great control. I mean, anybody would want a guy with great control who could show some sort of upside.
Yeah.
And then Brandon Barriera, they've traded for starting pitching from us in the past with Simeon Woods Richardson. Take another dice roll on Barriera. That makes sense. He's a top prospect in our rankings, but again, you never know if he's going to become anything at all, right? I mean, Simeon Woods Richardson, he's played for the Twins a couple of times, and what has he really done?
Yeah.
Right? Nothing really, ace-worthy, right? So this would be an example. I think this might get it done.
Yeah.
But again, you could throw in an Espinal, maybe upgrade the prospect side of things if you wanted to.
And to make it very clear, I think from our standpoint too, now we put them all together here just to make it simple for you guys to take a look at it, but I would prefer if you just leave Max Kepler off of that entirely.
Yeah.
I would love it if they just go out and they just trade for Jorge Polanco, and it is a simple, like, here's one of our top 15 prospects, give us Jorge Polanco. Because, again, the more I think about it, sure, he's not great defensively speaking. But when you're looking at a veteran guy who is a proven baseball bat in the MLB for 2 really, really cheap years, the second one that you can control, I think that is a very valuable asset for these Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I agree. Guys, you let us know in the comments down below. Would you make this trade? Would you trade for Polanco? Would you trade for Kepler? Or maybe you trade for both of them. Let us know if this is even a reality in your guys' mind.
Yeah, please make sure to like, subscribe, comment your thoughts down below. Also, $3 a month, become a Patreon member. Shout out and thank you to all of our current Patreon members and our YouTube members too. All of you guys are so appreciated.
Guys, thank you so much for watching.
And as always,
Go Jays, go!